Welcome back, everybody. The UFC 302 post show is here. It's me, your boy Kyle Diorio, and my beautiful host,
Robert Dylan Vasquez. What's up, guys?
Welcome back. We have a big show for you. This is the post show. This could be Dustin the Diamond Poirier's last post show, potentially, maybe not. He wasn't very clear, but we'll get to that shortly. Robert, what do you think of this card?
The card itself, there's just so much to break down. You have all the fights, and then you have the new equipment, the new gloves and stuff.
Yeah.
I'll shoot a real quick stat. 17 fights straight since that card with no knockouts via gloves, like no knockouts via fists. So
That's kind of crazy.
How do you feel about that before we get on the card? How do you feel about new gloves, new us, 17 straight fights, no knockouts via fists?
That's kind of crazy. That's a crazy stat. I kind of feel like that's still too early to be like, okay, it's the gloves doing that. But maybe that's kind of weird. I didn't realize that.
Very
I had no
weird.
Clue.
The card overall, I don't think there was
Kind of, what'd you say, mid? Mid?
maybe mid, maybe
Wasn't terrible.
mid.
It just wasn't
No.
great.
What it was lackluster. Lackluster. Because you have this great main event.
Yeah, the main event was fantastic.
The co-main on paper was
Should
supposed
have been good.
two pit bulls in there. We might as well have watched dog fighting this weekend. It got set up with some other, fights, notable fights. But man, did it.
I've said it before, and I'll say it again real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Sean Strickland's style can sometimes lead to dull fights.
I agree. I definitely agree. That is only 50% of his fault.
Yeah, like it's kind of the same thing with Izzy. Sometimes, that those defensive styles could be really exciting
Mm-hmm.
if someone's willing to, fight into you. But if they're not, it can be very dull.
That's why, you have these fighters that are like, they might categorize themselves as a counter fighter. You don't want to see them fight another counter fighter
No.
because then nothing happens. Nobody engages. Everybody's waiting on the next person. So this fight card, I call it lackluster. Don't mean to be too negative or anything like that. But until you get to the main event, that it's literally not a great build-up.
Yeah, it kind of was just there. And I think you could look at the card and almost predict it a little bit.
Sure, some of us.
A little bit, yeah.
Some of us. So let's get with the first fight of the night. How did that go?
Would be Mr. Rude Boy Randy Brown
Rude boy.
versus Elésio Zaleski dos Santos,
Mm-hmm.
a Brazilian gentleman that I believe you picked, right? You picked.
I did.
Looking at the stats, I mean, it kind of tells the whole story.
Randy Brown showed out. He showed out.
Randy Brown had 89 total strikes to the other man's 42.
You can't get outstrucken.
That poorly.
Not that, like, show up. Do something.
Do something. Yes, 4 takedowns, but not like you get takedowns, you do nothing with it. It doesn't matter. Like you gotta do something in a fight, man.
So I was watching that, eating Mexican food, I think.
Nice.
And I'm literally just like, okay, well, if this is any preview of what tonight's gonna be, I might fall asleep.
Yeah, yeah. I was in the back of a car riding home from a concert watching this. And man, it wasn't amazing.
And so now that's not the fault of the organization or
No.
the promotion setting this fight up. When
Sometimes it just happens.
when you're the first fight on the main card, some people might overlook you. Two things here. Two things that I'll never understand about the UFC. Number one, it's kind of like a boxing match. When you have a boxing card and you know that you're only watching the main event, you're going to pay full price to just watch one fight? Nah. If I buy the card,
Yeah.
I'm watching the whole card.
I'm watching everything.
Number two, if I buy a ticket to said show, I might not get their first or second fight on the early prelims.
Yeah, that's a long day.
But these people who buy boxing card fights and they don't show up until the main event, the whole arena is virtually empty until the or the main event.
It's kind of insane.
I don't understand that. You're literally wasting money.
Yeah.
So with this, okay, you might have people that are having connectivity issues, or they're like, oh shit, the UFC is on tonight, but I doubt it. Going from the main event of the prelims to the first fight of the main card, all eyes are on you. They have the intro, the Bruce Buffer, if so, he's introducing the whole card, and then he does this special thing for the main event. Why would you not go balls to the okay, there's the fear of getting knocked out, humiliated, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't.
You gotta do something.
You are in that position for a reason. You're the
opener. The opener to me should be like. The opener needs to be as good as. It should be like the third most exciting build, if that makes sense. Like main opener, right?
You're not going to be the main event. That's already understood.
Yeah.
But if you don't go out there, dude, you're chasing 50 G's and a bonus.
Chihuahuas.
Put it on the line.
Do something, brother.
But I digress, because I went with, I don't want to say my gut, but I went with, okay, let me throw this out in the air. If we're going to be divided first, then we're divided. And so I picked Dos Santos and you picked Rude Boy. Rude Boy.
So your boy's up one.
And I
got the show.
I got a fat goose egg. On to the next fight.
Going into a Nico Price versus Alex Morono fight. This one was it was fairly competitive, I'd say, right? This wasn't an amazing fight, but it wasn't awful.
You're seeing Alex Moreno step into the territory of, okay, look at all who Nico Price has fought.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're like, okay, well, with that experience, with that caliber of, hey, I'm fighting this guy who's on his, who's not established really, not yet.
Right.
You think he would have had a little more oomph and a little more juice, you know what I'm saying?
Fair. I mean, Alex Morono isn't to be slept on. But
he's not a BMF, but he's not
a BMF.
But he's not to be slept on. You're right.
Yeah, that being said, I mean, you're right. It wasn't the most impressive thing we've ever seen. This was another. It kind of feels just like another just fight. It was a fight. It was a fight of all time. It was there.
I don't know about you or any of the other casuals that watch this show and how much Dragon Ball Z that any of us have watched. I know how much I've watched, but you have these episodes in Dragon Ball Z that are strictly filler.
Yeah.
That felt like a filler fight. That felt like, okay, hurry up. Okay, we had Randy, Rude Boy in the first fight. Hurry up. Let's get to this co-main. And I don't like that, man.
I don't either.
Everybody should be separating themselves from what is, okay, spoiler alert, the main event was awesome, but let me separate myself.
Do something.
From that.
I feel like the UFC, obviously UFC 300 goes down as one of the greatest combat sports events of all time.
Yeah.
But because of that, there is a little bit of a massive slowdown for a couple of months.
A calm down.
A lot of those fighters they used a lot of big name fighters, right? And now you kind of just gotta wait. You gotta let them get back into the flow of the matches. And obviously 301 was like, who gives a shit?
There was a 301.
I think there was a 301, right? Like, but who cares, right?
Did the couch casuals cover the 301?
Man, couch casuals, I think they took a vacation. They said 301. This is a fight night card. Anyway, 302. It's not on paper. It wasn't as bad as that, but like in actuality, it may up until the next fight, things pick up a little bit.
So I say, let's just go on to the next fight.
Who'd you pick?
I think I picked Morono.
I think I picked Nico, right? What's this? Two for the boy.
I got 2 fat goose eggs.
Yeah, let's go on to the next fight. We got our boy, loudmouth Kevin Holland, facing a Polish fighter, Michał Oleksiejczuk.
So what I will say about Kevin Holland, we both had Kevin Holland, right?
I think we both went with Kevin Holland on this one. Yeah.
He said it himself. He's the ultimate gatekeeper.
I know that was kind of sad to hear, but it's not wrong.
I don't like that.
I don't like it either.
I don't like that only because a couple of tweaks here and there, he's breaking top 5 territory.
Yeah, just don't sell yourself so short, man. Don't say that. You're still a younger guy. Let's see how old he is.
He is. But he plays the game where Michael Chandler, spoiler alert, plays the game. Justin Gaethje plays the game. Kevin Holland's not going out there. He's going against Wonder Boy, and he's going tit for tat. You can't do that with a point fighter. You're going against MVP, who is another Wonder Boy. You can't go tit for tat. And he's getting frustrated, and he's like, I'm playing the game. You're not grappling. You're not making it for a boring fight. Kevin Holland is an exciting fighter.
He is. But sometimes those fighters, to their detriment, won't do what gets them wins. And we've seen Kevin Holland's jiu-jitsu is quite fucking good.
It's very good. And I think he needs an aggressor to show that, because jiu-jitsu is a very defensive sport. Okay, I'm on my back. Let me see how I can, finagle this. When he gets dropped, because he got dropped, his opponent dives in like a bat out of hell, gives him his arm. Now, there's a thing where you have the arm bar, and your legs are over his chest and his face.
Yeah, it's kind of your standard.
And you're using your pelvic muscles and your pelvis itself to bend that. Now, it gets even deeper when you stretch that across your right or left hip flexor. And it just gets hyperextended.
Yeah, those are the ones that you see, they just pop.
And you're like, dude, and you're watching it live. No matter if you streamed it or bought it. And you're like, how is this? Excuse me?
Did you buy this one?
So, the hip flexor, it's going over the hip flexor, and you see it like there's this tiny, like there's this give.
There's always that moment where like it's bending, and then all of a sudden you just hear this. It's like, oh.
And so the referee, I believe, Herb Dean, maybe. I don't remember the ref either, but he's like, he waves it off. The guy, he's like, What are you talking about?
What are you talking about? I can still fight.
This shit's all flimsy and jellyfished. What are you
Dude.
talking about? I was in
This-
that fight. No, brother. No, you weren't.
You just gotta accept the defeat sometimes.
You got caught, and that's fine. So, shout out to Big Mouth. I don't think you're as big of a gatekeeper as you say you are. You're always welcome on the Couch Casuals.
Always, dude. Come down. We'll talk about it. We don't think you're a gatekeeper. We think you're a potential contender.
What's next for him, though?
Then we tried to figure this out last week, didn't we?
I think so.
I think we had the same conversation, and I don't know, man. Does he get to take a top 15 fighter now?
Well, because this was at This was at 185, right?
This was 185, man.
And he's showing out, so it's like he's fought.
Jumping.
Yeah.
Back and forth, 185, 160, like
who is that monster that he fought at 205? It's not. He fought John Jones, obviously, not Kevin Holland, but Thiago Santos.
Oh yeah. Thiago Santos.
He fought Thiago Santos at 205. This guy is a three-weight now. He didn't look the best.
Did he really?
Yeah, he did. It was short notice. That's the whole.
That's Kevin Holland for you right there.
That's the whole Dana White promo of, fuck it, let's call Big Mouth. Let's see what, didn't sign him on the Contender Series because he talked too much. Thiago Santos needed an opponent, and he's like, fuck it, let's call Big Mouth. And Kevin Holland took that fight at
2018. That's crazy.
205. So you're talking about a 3-division guy. You could do whatever you want.
Hey, I think if Kevin Holland just focuses in and plays to his strengths a little bit more, he could still be entertaining. He could win some big fights. I think if he had not broke his arm in the Wonder Boy fight, he looked as if he could have won that fight.
Yeah.
He was in it even with the broken arm, and he was arguably winning it prior to the broken arm. And then, obviously, he just kind of completely shut down as far as offense is concerned.
Shout out to my old coach.
Yeah, Wonder Boy's great, but I want to see Kevin Holland do some big things. Let's take a look at the top ranked fighters at 185 because we didn't really talk much about the last two fights because there wasn't much to say.
Well, no, I don't want to say there never is, but unless you have a standout performance, it's the last 3 fights, or a lot is riding on the co-main or the main. And the UFC does a very good job, while you're looking that up, the UFC does a very good job of spreading the wealth. They're not going to be a boxing card. In the past, they've had Conor McGregor cards, which we'll allude to in a little bit, where, okay, it's just Conor versus a mop or something like that. Because it's like, you don't want to share the wealth. You don't want to spread the wealth because that's what you're there to see. You're there to see Conor. Fuck all with the rest of the card. So,
I got a good fight. And we're about to talk about him. But how about we throw Kevin Holland in with the Eraser, Paulo Costa,
at 185?
At 185.
I think that would be a really good fight.
I think it's a good matchup.
That's crazy.
Talk more about him in a second.
That's crazy.
Hey, Dana called me. I might be a matchup maker.
You are the Hunter Campbell. You are the Sean Shelby of the Couch Casuals. That's
Put me up, dude.
Crazy.
That's a perfect matchup in my head.
Should we go on to the next one?
Yeah, let's go on because the Eraser's in this fight. We both picked Kevin Holland, so I got 3 points now.
2-1. It's 3-1.
Sean Strickland versus Paulo Costa. This fight was incredibly disappointing to me.
Really?
Yes. I think Sean Strickland was at his frustrating best. Paulo Costa just, again, it didn't. Did Paulo Costa do anything in this fight?
He moved. He had really good footwork.
I think it was I don't even think it should have been a split decision.
I've never seen Costa on the back foot like that.
He didn't seem like himself in there, man. Where's the aggro Paulo Costa that beat the fuck out of people?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you because
he hasn't been here since the Israel fight. Like after the Israel
No,
fight,
you're
we
right.
haven't seen the same Paulo Costa.
You're right.
I don't
But
know if he's like scared to go at like because Israel's obviously the perfect person to counteract that over aggression.
sure.
Everybody else is.
No, definitely not. You're talking about Sean Strickland. Sean Strickland's gonna
Sean's probably a decent component to that, but
he's gonna meet you in the middle though, and he's the one
yeah,
coming forward. What? Now you think you're Izzy? You think you're gonna fight
no,
best on the back foot?
you're not going to
Paulo,
counter Sean like that.
Paulo, you are the eraser. You are Bohashinya. You are
What
Paulo
happened?
Costa. You meet him in the middle. You kink.
You're a
Whatever it
meme lord.
meme lord for sure.
Do something in the cage, buddy.
CCMMA award winner, bro.
Yes.
Meme lord. So it's like you have to meet him in the middle. You don't let him get his momentum and you stop that shit. But hindsight is 2020. We are casuals for a reason. I don't know what Paulo saw in there to make him feel like he couldn't go forward.
I don't know, man. So just to shine a light on everything, Paulo Costa went on a 5-fight winning streak into fighting Israel.
Sure.
And after that, including the Israel Adesanya fight, he's 1-4. It's not a
Which
good sign. He
would,
beat Luke Rockhold. That was his last win.
but he hasn't fought in a while.
He hasn't. He doesn't. He's not super active since then.
But he's 2-0 this year, right?
No, he's 0-2 this year.
No way. But he's fought twice. So
He's fought twice.
that's what I mean about the activity. But damn, Paulo.
Yeah. I want to see the guy get a win. And putting him and Kevin Holland kind of would maybe make it really hard for me to pick because I want to see both those guys win. But I think it'd be a pretty fun fight. Paulo Costa's got to do something, man. He's got to do something. It's not a good look in the UFC if you're 1-4 at any point.
Which if you're even more of a casual than us, you look at him, you're like, okay, you're super jacked. You should be ready to gladiator anything in your way. And I think he came out and said, we're not giving him the credit for what he came out and said. He's like, I need to return to the Paulo Costa of old.
Yeah,
I need
exactly.
to start beating ass, not giving a
You
fuck.
gotta be aggressive, brother. That's your style.
You
Throw
can't,
caution to the wind.
you can't lose that. You can't lose that.
I feel like you get afraid, you get worried because of like the knockout to Izzy, but we're talking about Israel Adesanya again. You gotta take that fight and kind of put blinders on it. Like, yeah, you got knocked out doing that against him, but you're not always gonna get knocked out doing that.
Well, Sean's not Izzy. Luke Rockhold's not Izzy. It's like deal with that when you're fighting Izzy. How about that?
Yes.
You have to take it fight by fight, like you're saying. Put blinders on. Nobody else is Izzy. Period. No. And if you don't know who we're talking about, Israel Adesanya, who I believe is getting, which I believe is getting the next title shot versus GDP.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I've heard multiple different things, and I can't keep up. Speaking of DDP, let's go back to a fight. Let's go back a fight real quick. Did you see what Kevin Holland said? Like, DDP tried to enter his DM.
I sent it to you,
dude. What the hell was that? What was that shit?
You guys,
was he looking for a fight, or was he looking for something else?
Whether it was Kevin Holland's Twitter or Kevin Holland's Instagram, you guys need to go look that up. You guys need to go. That's
a weird interaction.
That shit was so funny. Whether it was Photoshop fabricated, that shit was
funny.
So funny. I regret not having it as my meme of the week.
That shit was weird. It was very fucking odd. But yeah, I digress. Yeah, Sean Strickland clearly top of his game.
What's next for him?
I mean, if it's not the title, it's got to be some. It's got to be. If it's not for the title, his next fight has to be a fight that qualifies him for the title. So maybe winner of
Mike Perry,
Robert.
Mike Perry and BKFC.
Maybe.
That's the only thing I want to see. I don't, dude.
Would be fun.
You're gonna have him against DDP again. You're gonna have him against the winner of Hamzat Robert Whitaker.
Yeah, that's what I'd like to see. If not the champ.
If not the champ, okay, maybe on the same card. If
Maybe.
either one of them leave the week before the Conor fight unscathed. Anyways,
Yeah.
we both had Sean, so now we're what? 4-2?
4-2. That's where I was paid my heart on this next one. The main event, which is the best, easily the best fight of the night. Was the only really good fight of the night. Dustin the Diamond Poirier in what might have been his final attempt at gold versus Islam Makhachev. What are your takeaways from this fight?
Islam's not Khabib.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Islam is not. I think this fight proves Islam is not the world beater that Khabib was.
I mean, Islam gonna Islam. We talked about that.
When we say he's not Khabib, we're saying he's not one of the top 3 greatest fucking fighters we've ever seen.
Not by any means.
But that still means he's very, very good.
I have a question for you after we talk about this specific fight, and it has something to do with this fight, but it's for a later conversation. So, we're watching this fight, correct?
Yes.
And Dustin makes it out of round 1 after like 2.5 minutes spent of defending on his back and stuff like that. I'm like, no.
We're just gonna watch this happen. Like, it wasn't a good look to start. It felt like, oh no, this is going to be bad.
There's very few intros where I'll get goosebumps, and I have goosebumps right now thinking about it. The mashup of Willie
Shine like a diamond.
Shine bright like a diamond, and then it goes into the boss. Pays the cost to be the boss, dude. And he's walking
already like top 5, top 3 greatest walkout songs of all time.
100%, and it makes it even better knowing that Dustin, he's coming to fight. Whether you like,
every time.
I've got grappling, I've got submissions. Good luck. Dustin's a black belt, rather. So he's going out there to put it on the line. Maybe his last shot, maybe his last fight.
Maybe. Like, we still don't even know, because while it sounded like what did he say? I think he said literally, I think that might be it. But that's like so indecisive. Like, he's not 100%.
What you don't want is to have that shadow over you of I could have done this. I could have done this. Mm-hmm. And the only thing that I'll say about it is Conor McGregor lasted 4 rounds with Khabib. Dustin lasted 3. Justin Gaethje lasted 2. So, like, you could see at the end of Khabib's career, he was getting progressively better. Retires. Islam, he finishes Charles, beating Bobby Green to get the title shot or whatever. Defends it twice against Alexander the GOAT Volkanovski.
Yeah.
Alex is lower weight class, whatever you want to say, whatever excuses you want to make.
Yeah. I will make excuses, short notice, everything, whatever.
When he goes against Dustin Poirier, Dustin is a formidable opponent, lasting 5 rounds against the number 1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world. To go out like that wouldn't be a bad way to go out.
No.
But to say, and he knows it himself. He said it. I still have left I still have a lot left in the tank.
He clearly can still fight at a very high level.
I can beat these guys. I can beat Islam. A lot of people had it 2-2 going into the 5th.
Yeah, it was very close.
Then he gets hit with that nasty leg sweep, and it all like boom, it was gone in a flash. And I sent you that video the other day. I sent you the video when I'm not gonna talk too much shit, but Islam
Oh,
he does some glove grabbing.
glove grabs, yeah. Um, I'll have to like really pay attention to that. I
I don't.
don't. I didn't notice it in this fight. Did you think he do it?
There was a
Did you
clash of
catch?
head. There was a clash of heads. I don't know who that hurt more.
Yeah.
And then as far as a glove grab, who know? I'm not. I didn't see that till after the fight, so I'm not looking for it. So I'd have to watch
Right.
it back. But man, did Dustin do everything that Dustin could?
Yeah. I mean, it was as close as I mean. Let's put it this way. Here's a stat that's kind of mind blowing. Islam was 5 of 16 on takedowns.
Mm,
That's impressive defense.
I'd say.
That's very impressive defense against Islam, who takes people down at will most of the time.
And he's if we're gonna compare the two, which they're two different fighters, cool. They each have their different styles. Islam is more top heavy, clinch, takedown from the upper body,
Yeah, yeah,
where Habib will go for the single, the double,
right.
an ankle
Your
pick.
normal looking, your standard wrestling style. But man, I want to see Dustin fight again. I think he could, and I think he could potentially make one more attempt at the belt if he wanted to. But like, does he want to? That's the question.
It depends on who the champ is. I honestly think like, okay, yeah, I could fight Islam again. I could fight Islam 4 times a year, and it might go my way 2 or 3 times, or maybe even once. But that's all you need.
One's all you need.
But we talked about it the last show, the amount of things that had to happen for this title shot to be Dustin's. I mean, in the books,
It's kind of crazy. Like he seemed further away from this fight than just the craziness at 155 is, man, I don't even know what to say.
and it's always going to be crazy. So I think personally, I regretted going with Islam, but I went with Islam, so that makes it what? 4-3. 4-3 with Kyle
Even
winning
I still take it again.
which
Let's
no,
go.
it's 4-2 because I told you I don't want the points. I didn't want Islam to win. I knew he was going to win, but I didn't want it.
We all thought he'd win. Fair enough. What do you want to see next for Islam?
Islam, Armin Charukian, as much of a bitch as
Yeah.
Armin is,
Well, I would take that. I want to see it. We'll see. I'd see Islam stop that motherfucker.
but there's no build. There's no build to that. If Armin would have said yeah, then okay, that's the next fight. But it's kind of seeming like, okay, well, Dustin got the shot. This Armin kid is coming out of nowhere. Like, where did this fight come from? Because people don't research enough. They're not gonna go, oh, well, actually, Armin could have got it when Dustin got it. But no, nobody cares. So, Islam is saying Leon at 170.
I'd like to see one more defense, but
you know what I would want? I want to see Leon lose against Bilal. And then Islam and Bilal have to fight in the most boring grappling match of all time, where they do maybe 15 pay-per-views. Not 1,500, not 15,000, not 150. 15 pay-per-views.
1-5.
I don't care for either of them. They don't know how to market themselves, which is like, okay, go out and be the best fighter you can be. You're not in that era anymore. You're not in the early 2000s, late 90s era where you're bringing your best style. Oh, okay, I'm the number one pound for, and this is what I wanted to get. This is the question I wanted to ask. Is Islam the number one pound for pound fighter in the world?
I think so at the moment.
Over John Jones.
Yep.
Is it because of the activity?
Absolutely.
And is that the only reason?
No, I think Islam's more recent record is just more impressive. John Jones has one fight at heavyweight, which he did dominate in, but prior to that, his light heavyweight fights were not dominant fashion. I don't think he's the pound for pound number one, and that's not even like that shouldn't even be like a problem. Like that shouldn't even be like, oh God, John. I'm not even saying John Jones sucks. I'm just saying, as of this moment, Islam seems like the pound for pound number one. Obviously, it's a very fluid list.
So punching down twice on the 145-pound champ is not that makes you pound for pound?
The 145 GOAT, okay?
145 GOAT. Sorry. Punching down.
Get it straight.
Punching down on the 145 GOAT, bullying him essentially, that makes you pound for pound? Oh, hey, I beat a guy smaller than me twice?
So, is John's one win enough to make him pound for pound? Who, if not Islam, if not John, who should have it?
If you'll do me a favor and bring up the pound for pound rankings.
ESPN. Because the pound for pound rankings are so weird.
I think, well, for sure their media voted on.
All right, I'll tell you the top 5 on ESPN's website.
Sure.
They do have Islam at number 1. They have Leon Edwards at 2. They have Alex Pereira at 3.
I'd make a case for Alex over fucking Islam.
I would see a case for Alex over Islam. Unfortunately, he does have the somewhat slightly recent loss to Izzy.
Who's number 11 on the pound for pound.
Yeah. So that's the one detraction. 4 is Ilia Topuria.
Fuck him.
His 5 is Sean O'Malley.
Little cunt.
Alexander Pantoja is 6. This one has Izzy and Volk at 7.
Pantoja 6?
Pantoja is 6.
Okay. All right. Cool.
We're in a pound for pound weird era.
I got Johnny Bones. When you're your whole career, you're a 205er, your whole career. And then you move up to heavyweight. I'm on Dana's side. Dana will fight anybody in the world for this. John Jones is the number 1 pound for pound fighter in the world. You put Islam versus John Jones, and I know that's silly, but pound for pound, what are you doing here?
Man, I just can't. I can't.
Islam's so good. Islam is
activity.
number 0 in the 155 division. He's the champ. He doesn't beat Leon. Are you kidding me?
Well,
Usman couldn't beat Leon twice. And Usman's jacked.
Usman is jacked. Usman is massive.
Islam looks like a baby compared to Usman.
Which is weird to say because Islam is also jacked.
He's got muscle. His back looks like a barrel of snakes.
I would like to see him at 170. I want to see how much bigger he looks at 160. My bad. 165, whatever.
170.
170.
Yeah.
I get these fucking weights mixed up.
They haven't made that division yet.
They should.
We'll talk about it. But that was my question to you, and you obviously failed me and all of our audience. As the ultimate casual, you are the ultimate casual.
I think your take is pretty casual.
The CEO of the organization agrees with me.
Dana White likes money.
What money
he says is
what money does he gain from backing John Jones as the number 1 pound for pound?
It builds his next pay-per-view
against Stipe, who everybody loves and is the GOAT of the heavyweight division.
Yeah. You even as good as that fight already is, if you put, this is the pound for pound number 1 fighter, that's just another tagline that's going to bring in more eyes at any given time.
You know what I want?
What?
I want Islam to drop down and steal Elia's thunder. Fuck going up. I
want to see Max knock Ilya out.
Yeah, that would be satisfying, but you've already beat the featherweight champ twice. So Islam is reigning 145-pound champ and 155-pound champ without having the 145. I digress. I'll leave that alone. We'll have that conversation on another day. This card was lackluster.
Very.
And I agree that Maybe the earlier fights in the card could have done more. But what do the fights do after this? Are these gloves going to have that much of an impact? Are these fights? Are people going to be weary? Or are they going to want to show out more than ever? You can't ride this slope from post 300. You have to come out where big names leave, bigger names step up.
You got to this is the time to make a name for yourself, because a lot of the big names and the giants of the sport are starting to leave. It is your time. Become the next big name. There's a couple men have done that. Sean O'Malley is one of them.
100%.
I would say Alex Pereira, because he is new to UFC, but he's up there in age and is probably not going to last that much longer.
Well, there's this video where he was doing his first press conference when he got to the UFC, and it's like Alex Pereira, and everybody's dead silent. Now you're talking about a 2-division champ, one of the most important,
one of the most explosive rides to the top I've ever seen.
So we'll see. We'll see how Alex finishes out his career in the next couple of years, maybe even the next couple of months. He's got a fight booked against Yuri again. Yuri Prohaska, Alex Pereira 2.
That's going to be fun.
I think we should talk about the upcoming fights of the month.
We got some big ones.
We don't have to do the main cards of any of them, but I do want to talk about 2 specific fights, and I'll start with this. How do you feel about Robert Whittaker versus Khamzat Chimaev?
I'm excited. I think it'll be a very good fight. I think the winner potentially gets the next title fight at 185, and I think that winner is going to be Robert Whittaker.
Wow.
I think we're going to see Khamzat's first loss. And if we don't, I'll be even that much more impressed with him.
So we've never seen Khamzat in a 5-round fight, right?
I don't think so.
Because when all the craziness happened and he missed weight, he was supposed to fight Nate Diaz in a main event, fights Kevin Holland in a 3-round, does whatever. But
goes 30 seconds.
So now you're talking about Robert Whittaker in a 5-round fight, where we've seen Robert Whittaker in a 5-round fight multiple times.
This is his territory.
He's not a dude to be fucked with.
And I don't see Khamzat getting him out in 1, which is normally his game plan. So
I don't think he has
do?
I don't think he has the striking. Everybody sees that knockout versus Gerald Meerschaert.
That's Gerald Meerschaert.
That's Gerald Meerschaert. It's not Robert Whittaker.
I think the Reaper's taking this one.
We'll leave that, I guess, for the pre-show of the McGregor-Chandler fight. If we want to make a prediction right now, I'm cool with that if you are.
Let's just, since it's not on a card, we'll just go ahead and talk about it.
I got Khamzat by submission.
No, you don't. The fuck?
I got Robert Whittaker by decision. Both of it's so up in the air. I like Robert Whittaker's defensive wrestling. You've seen it against Yoel Romero. He didn't really have to use it against Izzy. That was more of a striking battle, and he lost. Khamzat does not have Izzy level striking.
No, not even close.
Not even close. Don't care how long he's been training with Darren Till. Darren Till, garb. Sorry.
That's so sad.
Garb. Sorry.
Are they even still buddies? I don't even.
What's that? Some Bet MGM kind of shit. I don't know what they got going on, but I used to follow them extensively.
Yeah, they were cool. They were funny to watch, and now who cares?
Don't care.
Disappeared.
Don't care.
That's not the biggest one of the month.
You have another pay-per-view. You have June 1st was 302. June 29th is 303. The return of the notorious Conor McGregor and the 2-year layoff return of Iron Michael Chandler.
Man, no matter what you want to say about Conor these days, it's always exciting when Conor fights. It's always going to be fun. It's never not going to be fun. It's never not going to be a great build-up. Everybody wants to see Conor fight, and there's a reason for it.
Well, you know what Conor brings in?
Other than money,
The casuals.
he brings in the lowest of the casuals. The
He
bottom
brings in
barrel casuals.
the bottom of the barrel casuals. If you're watching this right now, which shout out to our friend Jeremiah, Dustin Poirier.
He's DP's biggest fan, biggest casual.
If you're gonna be a bigger casual than us, that means that you only watch the sport when Conor McGregor fights. You only watch the NBA when LeBron James is playing.
Yeah, that's it.
You only look at Tom Brady highlights. You don't follow the sport, which is fine. I'm not here to throw stones at anybody. But what I will say is, if you watch our show and you think our takes are a little questionable, talk to the average person who goes,
Yeah, come on.
hey, do you watch the UFC? Oh, yeah. I knew a guy that trained UFC one time.
Oh, he trained in UFC?
Yeah. I know a guy who trained UFC. Not MMA. He trained
that comment.
UFC.
I trained UFC back in the day.
I know
Where it was cool.
I know Conor McGregor. I know him. Yeah, he's like this fighter guy, right? He's Irish? Yeah, okay. Cool.
Yeah.
That'll tell you all you need to know.
Conor McGregor.
This guy is coming back to fight Iron Mike Chandler. And what I know about this fight, Mike Chandler going to Mizzou. Shout out to Mizzou.
Shout out to Mizzou.
Shout out to Mizzou, my home state. He's not going to play that game.
Nah.
And if he does, he's the ultimate heel. He's not going to play that game. He's going to go blow for blow, banger, banger, banger with Conor McGregor. And you don't do that.
Michael Chandler's UFC career could look a lot different if he played to his strengths more often.
Oh, 100%.
But he doesn't. He wants that explosive 1 to 2 round knockout. The dude is dead by round 2.5.
Yeah.
He is completely trained. He trains for explosion. He trains like a bomb. He is nothing but a bomb waiting to go off. And it's a matter of, can you stay away from the bomb until its fuse runs out? And you have a great chance of winning.
You're talking about the nuclear fight that was Michael Chandler versus Justin Gaethje. You're talking about he had to pull out all the stops versus Dustin Poirier, where he really turned heel when he was grabbing Dustin Poirier's mouth and
the mouth hook and the snot blow, which it's pretty gross. But
and then you have it where he is up against Dan Hooker, doesn't need any of that. Boom.
That's the explosive power. Like
Tony Ferguson up kick. Boom.
That's the most raw. That's the rawest knockout you could ever see.
You don't want to watch that back.
He just fucking throws his foot up.
Never ever practices that because he goes, I don't practice up kicks like that because it hurts my heel. It hurts my this part. And his coach goes, just throw it. Just fucking throw it.
Just fucking throw it.
He throws it up the middle. Tony Ferg thinks it's a high, just melts his face.
Dude's face just becomes like goo.
His chin touched his forehead. I saw it.
It was rough. And we're not gonna do any predictions now, but it's
no, because that's
forward to it.
That's its own pre-show.
That's its own pre-show,
and it's not a bad card. It hasn't been like Conor McGregor cards in the past where they threw a bunch of schmucks together. They go, hey,
no, this one's got some other bangers on it.
It's got some star power to it. I'm looking
it's a lot
forward
better than last two.
Well, you have the Cowboy Cerrone fight, which looking back on it now, okay, there are people who have blossomed, but at the time, it's just a bunch of snickle frets on the rest of the card. So, do you have anything else for me? I talked about Robert Whittaker versus Cumshot.
Good man.
I talked about Chandler versus McGregor. We're usually at our regular time. I'm just looking forward to MMA. That's what I want to do. That's what I want to watch.
It's time.
It's time for the one, the only Conor McGregor to step back, the notorious one, to step back into the limelight, into the spotlight. Some controversy that was going on.
Controversy about whether this was happening, and it was all because of one canceled press conference.
So you have that going on, which it's like, okay, well, for sure, have a press conference closer to the fight. Have it the Thursday like you always do before the Saturday. But you're talking about a McGregor fight, so it has to be out. But they're not traveling the country like him and Jose Aldo did. You're not traveling everywhere like him and Floyd Mayweather did. Just give him the one before the Thursday. Don't try to butter it up too much. He does some shit, and he's been posting these videos of him in the club. And he's
Oh, yeah.
that is Ryan Garcia mental warfare. I don't know how much you were into the Ryan Garcia Devin Haney fight. Ryan Garcia's like, he comes out later and he goes, or before, and he goes, I'm gonna make everybody think I'm fucking crazy, and it's gonna sell hella pay-per-views. His tactic wasn't as McGregor-esque, whereas McGregor and Ali are like this. McGregor can't post a video of him in the club in the weekend. These MMA reporters, the Ariel Helwanis, the Brett Okamotos, they don't play that shit. They're like, no, we're going to get to the bottom of this. Is he in the club every weekend? Is he pulling a John Jones? Is this fight off? Is there a leg injury? We don't play that.
They go crazy.
They don't play that speculation game, bro. So this fight is on. And they had to do that because the MMA media directly affects MMA buys, I feel. Whereas,
yeah, for sure.
Whereas like a WWE or another organization like One Championship, you just like, okay, if I'm gonna be interested in something like that, I'm ready for the swindle. MMA, you're not ready for the swindle. The second you hear swindle, I'm not buying that. I'm not wasting my money on that. There's something going on. So I'm looking forward to the McGregor-Chandler card.
Big fight night. I'm excited.
We should do something for this.
It's long overdue.
We should get together. We should do something.
I'm down.
So there you have it. Bringing you
UFC 3-0 do.
Bringing you the most casual takes, the most casual picks, the most casualness that you can have. Tell your friends about the podcast.
Share. Like, share, subscribe. Do all the YouTube things.
Hit that bell
please.
For the notifications.
Hit the bell. Hit the subscribe. We have an OnlyFans.
We do have an OnlyFans. It's only us right now. We'll get like Nina Drama and everybody else involved.
We'll try to get some bigger names.
Was it Tracy Cortez? Is that her name?
Oh yeah. She's a target for the OnlyFans.
Miranda Maverick, Rose Namajunas versus what's her name? Oh man, her name is escaping me. Will you look that up real quick? Rose Namajunas versus Macy Barber. Sorry, you don't have to. We're trying to get all these girls involved.
Oh, yeah.
Nice. Trying to be like Charlie Olive's Brazzers in this bitch. Anyways.
Hell yeah.
I am your host, Robert Dylan Vasquez, here with my lovely co-host, as always.
Adiorio, we love you. Bye.